Everyone says trust the data, but what if that data is wrong? The real question isn't gut versus data, it's whether your data is reliable enough to trust in the first place. Here's the direct answer. Experienced judgment becomes the more rational choice in three specific situations. The first, your data is outdated. Second, your data contradicts clear observable signals. Or third, it simply doesn't exist yet for the situation you're facing. Think about a sales director evaluating a new client. The market data says the sector is growing, but every conversation they've had in the last month points to budget freezes. Which do you follow? The data is lagging, the observable signal is current. In that moment, pattern-based experience isn't a fallback, it's the more defensible call. Data can also carry its own bias. Skewed samples, outdated benchmarks, or metrics that measure the wrong thing entirely. Trusting bad data confidently is not better than trusting good judgment carefully. But this does cut both ways, which brings us to the harder problem. The harder problem is that fear and urgency feel exactly like intuition. A tight deadline creates pressure, and that pressure generates a strong pull towards a decision. It feels like a hunch, but it isn't. It's your nervous system reacting to stress. Genuine pattern-based intuition is built through domain exposure, making calls, watching outcomes, and adjusting over time. It's an accumulated signal and not emotion. So here's the test. Before you act on a gut feeling, ask yourself, can I articulate why I'm leaning this way? And not justify it after the fact. Articulate it now. If you can say, I've seen this dynamic before and here's what happened, then that's experience talking. If the best you can offer is, it just feels right, or we need to decide now, then slow down. That's not intuition, that's pressure in disguise. Not all decisions are equal, and this is where a lot of professionals get it wrong. They apply the same decision-making approach regardless of what's at stake. So here's a practical split. Lead with analysis when the decision is high stakes and hard to reverse. When you have relevant and current data available, or when you need stakeholder buy-in and the evidence strengthens your case. Lead with experienced judgment when the decision is time-sensitive and the delay has a real cost, when data is sparse or clearly lagging, or when you're operating in a fast-moving situation where the market is moving faster than your reporting cycle. The mistake is to use gut instinct for irreversible, high-cost decisions simply because the data feels inconvenient. That's not judgment, that's avoidance. Whether you lead with data or experience, do one thing immediately. Document your reasoning before you see the outcome. Write down what you believed, why you believed it, and what you expected to happen. This protects you from rewriting history after the fact and sharpens your judgment over time. And then validate. As soon as the nearest available signals come in, check your reasoning against them. Not to second guess yourself, but to calibrate. The goal is a tighter feedback loop so your intuition gets sharper and your data gets more relevant. So here's the rule of thumb. Use data when it's current, complete, and relevant. Use structured experience when it isn't, but only if you can articulate the pattern behind the instinct. If that was of value, subscribe to the channel for one real business question answered every video. For the same clarity in writing, the website and newsletter is 5minutebusiness.com.